Mr. Leon Pereira.
Question 38, please, sir.
Some hawkers have shared that they have been affected by the rising prices of electricity and key ingredients such as cooking oil and eggs, caused by the disruption of global supply chain and food production, and of course the Ukraine war. Hawkers were also affected by the restrictions on dining in due to COVID-19. However, the footfall of hawker centres has been improving following the easing of safe management measures and is expected to further improve with more employees returning to their workplace and the opening up of Singapore to travel from overseas under the vaccinated travel framework. We do not keep track of hawkers' earnings as they are self-employed persons. Nevertheless, we are constantly monitoring the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the global situation on hawkers and have been providing various forms of support. To mitigate the impact of COVID-19, the government provided hawkers with 10 months of rental waiver and 6 months of subsidies for table cleaning and centralized dishwashing services in 2020 and 2021, as well as a one-off cash payout of $500 under the Market and Hawker Centre Relief Fund in 2021. As announced at Budget 2022, the government will be providing further support under the Small Business Recovery Grant this year. SFA licensed operators and stallholders in hawker centres, markets, coffee shops, food courts and canteens will receive $1,000 for each local employee receiving mandatory CPF contributions capped at $10,000. Those without local employees will receive a flat payout of $1,000. Eligible hawkers will be notified by IRES from June 2022 onwards. This will provide some support to our hawkers during this period of inflationary pressure. Hawkers who continue to face financial difficulties can approach the National Environment Agency or the Ministry of Social and Family Development, MSF, for assistance. The government recognizes the impact of rising costs on low-income families. Families who need support for their basic living expenses can approach MSF's social service officers. The SSOs will continue to exercise flexibility when providing ComCare assistance to help households cope with their daily living expenses, such as food costs. The 5 Community Development Councils, or CDCs, will also be launching the CDC Vouchers Scheme again. This is one of the schemes announced at Budget 2022 to support Singaporean families in managing their daily expenses under the 2022 Household Support Package. Each Singaporean household will receive $100 worth of CDC vouchers this year. The government will continue to monitor and review the impact of inflationary pressures on businesses, operating costs, and citizens' cost of living. The Minister for Finance and Second Minister for Trade and Industry will also be delivering a joint ministerial statement on inflation and business costs at this Parliament sitting.
Mr. Leon Pereira, a bit short.
I thank the SMS for her response. Just a few supplementary questions. The hawkers who operate in privately run hawker centres usually cannot get the benefit of rental waivers and other levers of control the government has. Will the government look more at the problems they face from rising food costs and see how that can be addressed? Secondly, will the government consider the suggestion I made at my AM to, as one form of benefit to lower-income families, to create food vouchers that they can use at hawker centres as a way of delivering targeted assistance that also benefits the hawkers and doesn't require them to keep food prices down? And lastly, given the spike in food prices because of geopolitical events, so on, and this will take some time to stabilize, will the government consider freezing upward revisions to the rentals, at least for a certain period of time until the situation stabilizes? Thank you.
Right. With regards to the last questions about rental revision, let me share that we had frozen rental revision for a period when we had dine-in restrictions. Now, actually, when the leases come up for review, the majority, in fact, for the upcoming review from April to June, 96% of the hawker stores that are up for rental review are either going to experience no rental revision or actually a rental reduction. In fact, 58% of those are actually rental reduction, and only about 6% or so, 14 stores would have a rental revision upwards, but that is moderated. So any rental revision upwards is moderated, capped at about $300, whereas a rental reduction is between $20 to $2,400 odd. So in fact, with rental revisions, actually, many of the hawkers are assisted because they are revised to assess market rent, which takes into account current market conditions. With regards to the private sector stallholders, in fact, the Small Business Recovery Grant would also apply to them if they have employees that under CPF contributions, for instance. And in fact, if they are actually in HDB rental units and so on, there were previously also help given in terms of rental revisions or waivers. What was your second question? I'm sorry.
Food vouchers for the low income to spend at hawker
Actually, the
centres.
CDC voucher, it can be used at participating hawker stores and coffee shops and so on. So indeed, that is one. And actually, many of us in our own constituencies provide our own food vouchers or grocery vouchers.